How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Nun Ches, Daf 58 of Masechta BavaBasra. Friends. Basically we're just going to do a Gadata today. It's going to be a Gadata about Rabbanoah, who we introduced at the end of the Daf yesterday, and it's going to be some interesting stuff. Tomorrow, I guess it might be a little bit longer, relatively speaking, for BavaBasra, but alright, today's going to be interesting. Today I'm recording his Erev Tisha B'Av. There was some connection there to Tisha B'Av, but now I can't remember what it is. Alright, oh yeah, I remember what it is. It's going to come up soon. Well, on this Daf. Okay, 4 lines into Daf Nun Ches Amud Aleph. Here we go. Rabbanoah, at the 2 dots, Rabbanoah, have a kometzayin ma'artas. Rabbanoah, he would mark graves. Now, I think we had said the same thing. I keep thinking about it, but I never actually looked it up. I think we had said the same thing about Rish Lakish. What do we see over here? Anything over here? Rish Lakish. Do we see anything over here? I thought we had said... no, I can't. But what did we say about Rish Lakish? What did we say? I'll have to look it up. Yeah, I should have looked this up before. But I thought we had said that Rish Lakish would do that as well. And now I gotta look for it. I thought we said that Rish Lakish would also do that. Anyways, I'll have to look it up. Anywho, so, but Rabbanoah, he would kind of mark where the graves were, so that, I have to look that up. So that, people shouldn't go there and become tummy and stuff. Okay. So, so when he arrived at the Maris Machpelah, and he got to where Avram was, now apparently, so it's the Maris Machpelah, right? There's a double cave. So, if I understand correctly, in the first cave is Avram and Sarah, Yitzchak and Rivka, Yaakov and Leah. And then in the second cave is Adam and Chava. Okay? So, Kimat al-Ma'at Avram, so when he arrived, when Rabbanoah got to the cave, to the crypt of Avram, Ashkechel Eliezer, Eved Avram Dekoi Kame Bava. You saw that Avram Avinu's Eved Eliezer was there. He was by the door. And the Rashbam points out that I'll just read it. The Shiva Tzadikim Kayom and Shlomesu. There are 7 Tzadikim who never died. V'kochoshu Badayu Eliezer Avram, and Eliezer is one of them. So he was there by the Maris Machpelah. So Amalei, so Rabbanoah says to Rabbi Eliezer, "My Ovid Avram." So Rabbanoah says, he inquires, "What's Avram Avinu doing right now?" So Amalei Goni B'chan for the Sar v'Kamayna Lebereshe. So Rabbi Eliezer says, right now, Avram Avinu is sleeping in Sarah's arms, and she is checking out his head. Omar Le Zil Emalei Banoya Koya Above. So Rabbanoah says to Rabbi Eliezer, "No, can you tell Avram Avinu that I'm here?" Omar Le Leil. So if I understand correctly, Avram Avinu says, "Okay, let him. Yes, he may enter." Made the idea, because after all, Rabbanoah knows, or it is known, he knows, the Yetzer by Alma Leka, that he's going to come in, he's going to see me lying in Sarah's arms, but he knows that it's all pure over here, that there's no Yetzer Hara over here, there's nothing private going on over here. So Rabbanoah went in to the cave with Abraham and Sarah. Ayin, and he, did whatever measurements he had to do to measure the cave so that he could then leave the cave and then on, above ground mark where the cave is. Ayin v'nofak, and he left. Kimot l'mata do Adam Arishim, and then when he got to the second cave, the cave where Adam and Eve are buried, Yotza Baska v'amra, a heavenly voice emerged and said, Nistakalto b'dmos yukni, you looked at at that which is similar to my likeness, B'dyukni atzma al tistako, but don't look at my likeness. As we're going to see in a minute, that I think we've seen this before also, that Shufrei ki Yaakov kein Shufrei do Adam Arishin, that the appearance, the beauty of Yaakov Avinu was like that of Adam. So therefore Adam says, look, you looked at Yaakov Avinu who's like me, don't look at me, because it says by Adam Rishon, it says B'Tselem Elokim bara oso, that bara oso, what does it say? B'Tselem Elokim bara oso. Okay, I think it might also say osam in a different pasuk. Anyways, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe Zachar and Nekeva bara osam. So Adam says, look, you looked at Jacob, don't look at me. But Rabbana says, yeah, but I need to mark the grave so that people don't become tummy. So Adam replies, yeah, well, the measures of the inner cave where I am is the exact same as the measures of the outer cave, so just do the same thing for both. And according to the opinion who says that the Maris Machpelah wasn't two caves next to each other, but one on top of the other, well then it means that they are the same dimensions, the one above and the one below, which means that above ground you only need to mark the dimensions of the upper cave. The lower cave is the same dimensions. And Rabbanoya says that I looked at Adam's two heels, Vidom l'shnei galgalei chamon, they're like two orbs of the sun. Reb Dennis, what's an orb? Hakol b'fnei Sarah kikov b'fnei Adam. Everything in comparison to Sarah is like comparing a monkey to a human being. Kilu, it's not even close. He said, well, I guess it's like apples and oranges, I guess. But I guess Sarah being the much more attractive one. And similarly, yeah, I don't know if it's talking in a spiritual way, but anyways, and Sarah before Eve is kikof b'fnei Adam, is like a monkey before a human being. Chava b'fnei Adam, Eve before Adam, kikof b'fnei Adam, is like a monkey in comparison to a human being. Adam b'fnei Shechina, and Adam compared to the divine presence, kikof b'fnei Adam, is like a monkey compared to a human being. Shufrei de Rav Kahana, kein Shufrei de Rav Abo, that the beauty of Rav Kahana is like that of Rav Abo. Shufrei de Rav Abo, mein Shufrei de Yaakov Avinu, and the beauty of Rav Abo was like that of Jacob, our father. Shufrei de Yaakov Avinu, mein Shufrei de Adam Rishon, and the beauty of Jacob, our father, is like that of Adam. Excuse me. Okay. Is he called the primordial man? Is Adam the primordial man? Is there something called a primordial man? And is that Adam? What does primordial mean? Primordial. I don't know. Mord is like mord. Okay, let's go fight. How Amagusha da'avachotit shichve, there was a like a magician. I think it was an Oved Kochov magician. They have a chotet shichve. He would dig up graves and remove their clothing. Kimota ma'arta de Rav Tuvi bar Masna. When he went to do this to Rav Tuvi bar Masna, tafse bedikne, Rav Tuvi bar Masna grabbed this fellow by his beard. Also, Abai, for some reason, Abai had a good relationship with this Amagusha guy, this magician guy. So he tried to convince Rav Tuvi bar Masna to let go of his beard. So Matusa Minach, Abai says to Rav Tuvi bar Masna, please, Shavke, let go of his beard. The Shana Achri said the next year, Hadar also. So then this magician tried a second time a year later. And once again, Tavse, Bedikne, and Rav Tuvi bar Masna grabbed this magician's beard. Also Abai came again to try to get Rav Tuvi bar Masna to convince him to release his beard. Lo Shavke, but he wouldn't release the beard. So they had to bring scissors and cut off his beard. How the Amalu, there was a certain fellow who said to his three children on his deathbed, Chavisa da'afir l'chad, one of you gets a barrel full of dirt, l'chad broi, to one of my sons, Chavisa d'garmin l'chad broi, and one a barrel of bones goes to one of my children, Chavisa d'udre l'chad broi, and a barrel of cotton, of cloth, goes to my third son. La'avi yadim eka amalu. And they didn't know what in the world he was talking about. A barrel of earth, a barrel of bones, a barrel of cotton. So also the Karma Rabbanos, they came to Rabbanon. Maybe he could help them understand what their father was saying. And he says to them, Isluchu Ara, do you have property, earth, dirt? In. They said, yes. Isluchu Chevasa, do you have animals? And I guess animals have bones. In, yep. Isluchu Bustarke, do you have like quilts and fabrics and things made of fabric? In, yeah, we do. Well, there you have it. One brother is going to get the land, the property. The other one gets the animals, and the third one gets the fabrics and clothing and things, garments. There was a certain fellow who heard his wife, that his wife was saying to her daughter, daughter of mine, why are you not discreet when you have relation? When you're sleeping with other men. So, because after all, I, your mother, asar b'nei isla, I have 10 children, as you know. But what you don't know is only one of them did I have with your father. The other 9 I had with other men, but nobody needs to know. Your father doesn't know, nobody knows. So therefore, why? You should be doing the same thing. If you want to sleep with other men, do it discreetly. Nobody should know. Kishachiv. Well, then the husband heard this, so he then realized that only one of his 10 sons was his. All the other 9 were from some other person, not his children. So when he was dying, Amrlu, he says, all of my property, all of my estate is only going to one of my sons, because only one of my sons is actually my son. Right? He says only one, right? So my estate is only going to go to one of my sons. And they didn't know which son that was, who gets the estate. Also, they came for Rabbanah. Maybe he could help them know who is the son that should receive the estate. He says to them, what you should do is, Zilu chavotu kiver da'avuchon, go and bang on your father's grave, until he gets up and he'll tell you which one he intended to bequeath his estate to. Will let you know who to which son his estate was left to. Ozlu kulu, so they all ran out. Ahu divrei hava lo azal. 9 out of 10 of the sons then went to the cemetery to go bang on their father's grave and disturb their father who's dead, except for one of them. One of them did not, it was disrespectful, he did not want to participate in going to the cemetery and banging on his father's grave. He did not want to participate in that. So Amar Lahu Kulu Nichse Dahai. So Rabbanah said, there you have it. Clearly, the estate is for this son who did not participate in banging on the father's grave, because either clearly there's like some kind of special relationship there, right? There's some kind of v'nafsho kshur v'nafsho kind of thing that he just couldn't do it, or that maybe just naturally the father related to him better, so therefore he didn't want to go. Whatever it is, this was the fact that he didn't go and the others went is an indication that they are not actually the father's sons, but he is. But they were all very upset. 9 of the 10 sons, they were very upset, so they went to the king and they ratted on Rabbanah to the king. Now this was the tie-in to Tisha B'Av, right? If I'm not mistaken, is the same lashon from the Gemara in Gittin, where it says, by Kamsa and Bar Kamsa, that I think it was Bar Kamsa. I think Bar Kamsa was the enemy, right? So I think Bar Kamsa went to the king and kind of started this snowball effect. Amre, they said to the king, there's a certain Jew, the Kamapik Mamona Me'inche, that he confiscates money from people below Sade without witnesses, below Midi with nothing, gunished. Asuru Chavshu, so they went and they arrested Rabbanah and they threw him in jail. Also Divisu, now Rabbanah's wife wanted to get him out of jail, so she came up with a scheme, with a plan. Amra Lehu, And she goes to the people, the court of the king, and she says to them, Abdachad Avali, I had an Eved, Posku L'Reishe, they decapitated his head, Ufashtu L'Mishche, and they took off his skin from him. Also kind of in some ways a connection to Tisha B'Av with who did they scrape off his skin? Was that Rabbi Akiva? Maybe. Or was it Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol? Rabbi Shmuel ben Elisha? Who was it? I guess we'll find out tomorrow. V'achlu bisrei, and they ate his flesh. V'kamalu bei maya, and then they took the skin and they made it into like pitchers, and they filled the pitchers with water. Umashku bei lechavraya, and they would use those pitchers to bring water to the people in the academy. V'loko yavu lidmei, and they didn't pay me any money for having taken my Eved and killed him and made him into a pitcher. V'lo agre, they didn't pay me any rental fee. Lo yadi mai ka amra lehu, and they didn't know what in the world she was talking about. Amre, they said, Nesu l'chakima diudoi v'lema. Well, why don't we get the very wise Jew, and he will tell us what in the world this woman is talking about. Karyu, the Rabbana. So they summoned Rabbana, Amrlu, and he said to them, Zanuka Amra L'chu. She's talking about a goat hide container, that basically somebody stole her goat and made the hide into some kind of a pitcher and a container. That's what she's talking about. So Amre, they said, since Rabbana is so smart, let's make him a judge in our courts. So they made him a judge in the court. And Rabbana noticed that it said on the entrance to the courthouse, I guess on the entrance to the courthouse, there's these like inscriptions of like different lines of wisdom. So it says, called Dayin de Miskre Ledin Lo Shmei Dayin. Any judge who himself gets taken to court as a defendant, Lo Shmei Dayin, he can't be a judge, right? A judge who himself gets brought to court as a defendant cannot be a judge. Elamiata also inish miyama. So Rabbana says to them, Elamiata also inish miyama. Well, if that's the case, then anybody can come. Umazmele ledina pasle. So anybody can come with spurious claims against the judge. He has now been taken to court as a defendant, and now he can no longer be a judge. Anybody who wants to disqualify a judge can simply, make up claims, take him to court, and now he can no longer be a judge, even though there's absolutely no truth to the claims. Ella, rather, says Rabbana, rather, any judge who's taken to court and he loses the case and he has to pay money, well then he can't be a judge. Somebody who himself is guilty in court cannot be a judge in the court. Kazvu achi, so they amended it, they made an edit, and they said, Bram Saved Udoy Amre. However, the Jewish elders say, Kol Dayin Demiskre Ledin Umafkin Mine Mamona Bedin Lav Shmei Dayin. That any judge who is taken to court and loses cannot be a judge. Chaza Dichsiv Berosh Kol Mosa Anadam, and he also saw that it said that the primary reason for death is too much blood. Something to do with too much blood, i.e. like you didn't do bloodletting when you needed to. Brosh kol chayin ono chamar, and the key to life is to drink wine. What? So if somebody falls from a roof and dies, or from a palm tree and dies, he died because he had too much blood? He died because he fell off of a roof or a palm tree. Vesu, and more so, somebody who's going to die. All you have to do is give him wine to drink, and like magic, he lives. Rather, what it should say is Birosh kol marin onadam. No, in terms of sicknesses, diseases, ailments, the primary reason for sickness, for ailments, is too much blood. Birosh kol asvon onachamar, and the greatest antidote would be wine. but it's not like a miracle drug. So they wrote like this, but the Jewish elders say, that the primary factor in ailments is too much blood, and the primary antidote on a chamar is wine. And if they don't have wine in a certain place, so instead you can use herbs and things. Ksiva Pischa de Kaputkaya, it says by the entrance to Kaputkaya, Anpak, Angav, Antol, that all these shiurim are the same. Ve'ezu Antol, what's the shiur of Antol? Zeravias Shatorah, that's a Revias. Alright, well, that was Daf Nun Ches. We're going to stop here, which means that tomorrow we have a little bit more to do tomorrow, but hopefully it should be manageable. I don't think it's particularly difficult. And, okay, that was Daf Nun Ches. Very interesting Daf, interesting Agadah. It's primarily about Rabbanoah. It's a very interesting stuff. Peace out.